come in here, you're learning the movements, along with like how to prevent injuries, um, and strengthen some of those, muscles, and so that you don't hurt yourself. So CrossFit's doing all the right stuff for a workout, right?
The Boom Show is produced by the team at Burg CrossFit. So please don't sue us. All of the recordings and materials in this podcast are for educational purposes only and should not be considered as a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Let's just get smarter and sweat together. Cool? All right, let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony back again, finally, with the Boom Show. And I am here today with one of my absolute favorite members, and I think one of Burg's favorite members, Barb Banno. So Barbara's here to tell her story. She's been a longtime member. But to start off, Barbara, welcome. Thank you for being here. And tell us more about you. Tell us where you're from, what you do, who you are, any details. Let's hear it.
Okay. Well, you're one of my favorite people too.
Thanks.
And do we get the bebop at the beginning of
Oh,
this
yeah. I already blew it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's actually coined from Amy Tomlinson from
Okay.
her Nasty Girls podcast. You haven't gone there. You
Okay.
listen to her intro. I
Took it
give
from
her a
there.
hard time from there. Yeah. But.
Geez. I mean, I was originally born in New York, Queens, New York, but young. My family migrated out to Arizona.
Okay.
And I grew up in Arizona I lived there for 30 years. Elementary school, high school. All my mom's family moved out there, so that's why we kind of migrated out there.
Okay.
And from there I worked at corporate America, and American Express actually brought me out to Florida. So I never even had visited Florida, and was offered this job in Tampa, and 2 weeks later just moved out here kind of blindly by myself, not knowing anybody.
Yeah.
Just kind of took a leap of faith, and I've been all over, not all over Florida, but I moved around a lot with American Express once I moved here.
So you were working for American Express when you were in Arizona, and then and then transitioned over here.
Yeah.
And started in Tampa, and you went all over.
Yeah, I was in Tampa, and then I took a job in Miami, and lived in Fort Lauderdale.
Gotcha.
For a couple years, and then back to Tampa. But I also, American Express gave me great experience and exposure. I lived over in Europe for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I lived in London for 6 months.
Wow.
I call that some of the best times of my life, like just to be able to live abroad like that. And learn different cultures. And I traveled all over Europe training on different types of programs and stuff. Cool. So American Express was really good to me.
Good.
Yeah.
So you're not with American Express right now.
No.
You're an entrepreneur. How did that transition in? What was the next step?
Oh, geez. Once I came back to Tampa, I was living in St. Pete, and then, we had friends that were talking about Gulfport. So finally bought a little house in Gulfport and fell in love with the town. And I don't know, I was just looking to, maybe open up a business, and breakfast was like one of my favorite meals to eat out. And I was like, geez, there's not even anywhere to have breakfast downtown. I'll just open up a breakfast place,
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Never did I even work in a restaurant before I opened.
No way.
Stellas.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, I found a space, and, we had to put some work into it. And, I give credit to everybody involved in my whole 12 years of journey to bring Stella's to where it is today. But, I tell people the story about, like, the day before I opened, we had hired a couple servers, and then they're like, you don't even have salt and pepper and ketchup and jelly and sugar on the table. And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, when I go to restaurants, like, I know I use it, but I didn't even think about putting them on the tables, like the day before we opened.
Sure.
So, yeah. So
what year was that?
2009.
Wow.
2009. It took us about 3 months to get open.
Wow.
And
that was downtown Gulfport.
It was downtown Gulfport. Yeah, it was during the downturn of the economy when everything was just like really kind of rough and stuff. So, but the community was wonderful from day one since we opened the doors, and it's evolved. When we first opened, it was Stella's Deli and Gelato, believe it or not, because
Really?
there was nowhere even to get ice cream
Huh.
down there, and I tell everybody though, when you go to open a business, actually start small and then grow from there, so instead I was doing breakfast, deli, and gelato, which was like a lot.
Right.
And then we just kind of trimmed it. Yeah, so we were doing the gelato, which I didn't never stay open later for that, so we were, who's gonna eat gelato at 7:00 in the morning?
She made it breakfast gelato.
Yeah. So we had gelato in there for, I would say, maybe 6 months.
Okay.
And then figured that wasn't really working, and we were like, oh, we'll do deli meats and sliced deli meats and sell it by the pound, and that kind of went to the wayside, and it's just I've allowed Stella's to evolve to what the demand was and what people really love and appreciate about it. So
Sure.
it's definitely evolved a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, so if you haven't been to Stella's, it's downtown Gulfport, and Gulfport's like the hidden gem of St. Pete. At least I say it is. I think you.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I've actually met people from St. Pete
Uh-huh.
that didn't know Gulfport existed.
It's crazy.
I'm like, how do you not know Gulfport? Like, it's one of the best places.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of go through some a little bit rougher parts of town. All of a sudden, you get down to the water, and there's like this little mini mom and pop town with all these cool restaurants. So
yeah.
So yeah, you and I met. I know you met Jen probably before we had met.
Yeah.
My wife. And, but we lived in Gulfport. That's kind of how we met.
Yeah.
So even before the gym.
I was a regular to a Maddie's.
Yeah.
And Jen would wait on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stella's is, I guess, give us one more little tidbit on Stella. We're gonna talk more about it, but what's the story of Stella? Like, what's the Aunt Stella, correct?
Yeah. So my great aunt Stella, she was a nun, and all my family, except for my mom's side, stayed in New York. So we would spend summers in New York, and my aunt Stella, when I would go back for the summers, I would spend a lot of time with her, and she was just a really good, positive influence in my life. And I remember cooking with her, playing cards with her at the table. She loved every summer when we would come to visit. So she was just a great influence in my life.
Uh-huh.
And so when it came to naming the restaurant, I felt like there was no better name than that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Stella,
And she passed away in 2000, and we opened in 2009. But I said she's been with me every day since the day I opened.
That's cool.
Just making sure everything is great.
So you opened it on the downturn, then we went through COVID, and now we're coming back out of it. And you were literally opening a new location, or transitioning your location, right? Through all that. So.
It's been a rocky 2 years. So I relocated 2 blocks north, which it was a very, very stressful and a long transition, and only been there for a couple months, and then COVID hit. And when you put your life into owning your own business, to have something like this, so scattercross, could just devastate your whole life, So it was very, very scary. But, again, I just tried to figure out how I could evolve and make it work and stay through the tougher times, and I've been very, very lucky. So
you've done a lot of hard work, and you said something that we preach to the coaches: evolve or die. And it's a basic quote that we've heard from others. But if you don't evolve with the times or evolve with what's happening, then you don't survive.
A long time ago, I went, well, not a long time ago, but maybe 10 years ago, I did go to a Tony Robbins weekend getaway, and that was something that he even talked about. Things are constantly changing in our world, and you need to learn how to do that, especially in a small business environment. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep up and be successful. And so, it was like when COVID hit, and then it was like no dining, and what could we do? And what can we do to stay afloat and create different ideas, try to keep as many of my employees staffed as I could. And we just kind of figured it out. And it was everything was changing every day.
Yeah.
What we could do, what we couldn't do. you know, I remember when they closed the restaurant, I was having a meeting with my staff to talk about what the weekend was going to look like to make sure my customers felt safe. And literally 10 minutes into that meeting, you know, the governor came out and said, no more seating. And I was just like, okay, well, scratch everything that we say, and now we got to figure this out.
Right.
So, yeah.
You're here today. I know Stellas is crushing it now.
Yeah.
Back at it, right?
Yeah, back at it. I mean, we're still staying like COVID safe, and I have lots of tables outside. I did open up a small little retail store that's like right in the same courtyard area. So I tell everybody, you know, I opened up in the down of the economy, Stella's. So why not open another business during COVID? It seemed to work the first time, so hopefully it'll work again. Trend, you know. So it's a cute little like kitchen store, like home decor store, bar. You know, it's just a fun little retail store. It's about 300 square feet.
Yeah, cool.
And you know, dipped my toes into that too. So
cool, good.
Expanding the brand.
So that's awesome. And one of my favorite things at Stella's is the corned beef hash. So if you go there, you have to have the corned beef hash. It's the legit stuff, not the canned stuff that most restaurants have, breakfast places have. So from here, I know, like, tell us about your fitness journey, because obviously we met before you kind of got into Burg, but what were you doing before that? And then how did, you know, tell everybody about how you got started at Burg and what happened.
You know, I've been like on and off overweight almost my whole life. I like being active, but just never always was. You know, I was involved in a little bit of sports when I was in high school, softball a little bit. You know, and then I was just on again, off again at the gym throughout my whole life. It wasn't something that I was truly dedicated to. But you know, when I would run into you, and I was around Jen, and when we'd run in and you would be like, you need to come to CrossFit. And I was like, no way in hell. Like, do you see me? Like, I'm not, I don't know. And you're like, you can do it. Like, you just always, every time we saw each other. And then something came out about Revive.
Yeah,
it was your second Revive. I did some recon on dates because I wanted to try to be accurate, but I'll always remember it was in September of 2016. So it was your second Revive. You know, you guys were taking applications, and I was so excited, and I was just like biting at the bit to be one of them that was selected. Like, I knew this was something that I wanted to do to kind of turn around, you know, change my life. And you know, and you always, you know, every time you would talk to me about CrossFit, you always said how I was capable of doing it. So I applied for Revive and started, you know, was selected, and I think it was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Was it an 8-week program?
So a lot of people don't know what Revive is. We actually don't currently run Revive. We've kind of modified that version to, and we've talked about bringing it back, but it was a program that I kind of stole from Jason Khalipa. Well, I absolutely did. He had this idea. I went to a seminar with him, and Jason Khalipa is one of the big CrossFit guys, if anyone doesn't know who that is. So I got to give him credit for this, but I went to Box to Business, and he gave this idea of like helping individuals that in your shoes that have, you know, we're talking about CrossFit, but it's like, I can't do that, you know, but you want a life change. I know you have the determination and the mindset for it. So Revive was a 8-week program, right? Yeah. And it was a small group, and it was an application process, completely free to the individuals, but they had to commit to the 8 weeks. Yep. It was mandatory. And then there was we had the training, we had nutrition, we had mental counseling and therapy with Olivia, and Sarah was running the nutrition program. So that's kind of a background of what Revive was. But anyway, continue when you got started. So
I don't remember the full workout for the first class. All I remember about the first class was after the workout, we concluded with a 2,000 meter row.
That's what I was going to say.
And I mean, I thought I was going to die, you know, and
do you remember your time for that?
It was almost 13 minutes, I think. Yeah. And I remember almost crying, which, you know, I still have those workouts today. They're a little bit different where like I'm at the breaking point of almost crying. Which at the end of the day, I think is a good thing too, because it's really like challenging me. But I had no idea how I was going to finish that 2,000 meter row, 100 meters in. And I was like, geez. And I just remember like you and Ryan at the time were just like, back and forth with all of us, just pushing and pushing. And that was tough,
Do you remember what your time was at the end of the 8 weeks during the 2,000 meter row?
It wasn't under 10 minutes. I want to say it was a little over 10 minutes. So I had taken 2 minutes off.
In 8 weeks. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a cry afterwards.
No.
Workout
No.
at that point, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, it depends on, what I was doing before that. But I mean, and I remember coming in before the final workout to do the 2,000 because I wanted to see, I challenged myself like 2 days back to back with the 2,000. That was my first benchmark as far as like goals that I wanted to achieve was the 2,000 meter.
Right.
But I now I would say today, if I, came in fresh, I would probably do it around 9:15, 9:20. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a 3 or 4 minute PR pretty much from where you're at.
Yeah.
At then, and it's not a.
I haven't done it in a while. It might be a little bit less.
I think it is less.
I probably, but I haven't done a 2,000 meter in a while.
I distinctly remember that workout for you in particular.
Yeah.
It was the 2,000 meter row. I remember talking about it. I remember you coming back in and doing it again. And you got off the row, I believe, probably the first one.
Yeah.
Within the Revive program, and you were off, breathing fine.
Yeah.
Cheering everyone else on.
Yeah.
And I remember the look on everyone's face in the first round.
Yep.
And just trying to put that same belief in you guys as you did in the people after.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to see that transition. So.
Yeah, it was a great little program. We all worked really, really well together, and it was a real smooth transition into then continuing on with CrossFit. So it made it a little bit easier from many different standpoints. It was, modifications, I mean, I was a little bit more familiar with modifications, or I didn't feel bad having to do modifications. And then, you meet people, everybody's so friendly here, it's, so it was really easy and made you feel comfortable coming in there. When you're overweight and you're not that athletic, going into any kind of gym can be very, very intimidating.
Sure.
But I, from day one, never felt that way.
So you started in 2016.
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
Tell us, I know you've been working with Sarah.
Yeah.
You've worked with her extensively with the nutrition program, because I want to give her a big shout out. You and her have worked so well together.
Oh, she's been amazing. She's been amazing. I did Revive in 2016, and then I don't know what happened. I did take a hiatus. I would say probably for 9 months to a year. And then you reached out to me. It was August of 2018. And you said, I want to do something for you and my workout buddy, Rhonda, at the time.
Yeah.
And we're going to put this together, and you're going to work with Sarah. And that was very helpful, because taking that time off, even though I knew I could do CrossFit, I knew I had put some weight back on, and I didn't know how to go back to CrossFit and then just start right over again, because I feel like, Revive kind of got me into a little bit of shape where I can step into the classes. But even taking that time off, I was like, how am I going to get through a class if I've been gone for, 9 months to a year,
Sure.
And I don't know what made you call me. Like, I really sometimes feel like you and I are just like spiritually connected, Tony. Like, you have a great big piece of my heart. But
thank you.
So like I was already feeling this way, knowing I wanted to come back, and then you reached out to me and paired me with Sarah, and since then, like, these last 3 years have been some of the best times in my life, really.
That's awesome.
She is like so in tune with what her job and her task is, and then especially me, and I've taken her up and down the roller coasters of things so many times, and she just like continues to push me and challenge me. And then things are, I laugh every time. I'm like, you've been telling me all this stuff and you're right. Like, she's like, yeah, I know I'm right. Like, and it's not that I never trusted her, but it's like, the things that she talks about doing, or getting more sleep, to being stressful, to logging your calories, it all seems very simple to say.
Sure.
But day in and day out, life happens and
Sure.
throws you curveballs, and she's just been there with me every
So
step of the way.
So that's, I want to dive in more of like, and give you more credit, because I think you're being pretty humble on the aspect of like what you've done.
Yeah.
Considering I wanted to start with the backstory of Stella's and that entrepreneur journey.
Yeah.
And going through COVID and doing all this stuff while that was happening and staying consistent. And whether you know it or not, you're kind of an inspiration to the coaches and the members. And we talk about you behind your back in a good way a lot. Like, can you believe what Barb's doing? And I want everyone that's listening that doesn't know you or hasn't really seen your entire journey to realize, like, you are one of the best individuals that we have in the gym as far as inspiration.
Thank you.
And motivation.
Thank you.
And dedication, and going through, you never see a graph that just goes straight up.
Yeah.
Right. It's not reality.
Yeah.
With anything. So, but your graph has had an upward trend.
Yeah.
And that's what really matters. And that's what I guess.
I feel that way. So, I mean, I am down 70 pounds in 3 years.
That's awesome.
And
can you just listen to that? 70 pounds, 70 pounds, and you're stronger.
Yeah. And I'm stronger. And it's been great to see. Like, and it's the only reason sometimes it might be hard to get up in the morning is just because I'm sleepy, but it's not because I don't want to come here. Like, I want to be here, you know, and I always have to make sure that I don't also overdo it too, because I would probably be here a little bit more, or pushing myself a little bit more. Sometimes there's the workouts that just like really like excite me. But, I am down the 70 pounds and I've put the work and energy into it, but I love being here. I love what you've built. I love the community. I love the coaches. I think too, I've seen over the last 6 months, probably some of my best results in regards to working out. And I have to give some of that credit to even Ray, starting in January, I do personal training and fitness with him twice a week. And just the mobility part of it has exceeded my expectations. I think in my mind, I thought, okay, I knew I wanted to lose weight, and I knew I wanted to be more mobile and be able to get around easier and do better squats and burpees to the ground and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, okay, as I lose weight, I'll be able to achieve some of those goals. And I was losing weight and I was feeling stronger, but I also didn't see some of that movement that I thought that I would see once I lost the weight.
Right.
Which goes back to, you guys are always right, because it's about mobility and, doing to work on different movements. And so, Ray and I had been talking about, my squats specifically. And, he's like, let me put a program together for you in January. And so, for me, I also thought, I think people also, when they want to lose weight, they want it fast.
Sure.
And 3 years later, like, would I like to be a little bit further along in my weight loss? Yes. But at the same time, like, I've completely changed so many habits. And I think it's because I have taken my time and I've learned who I am and what I'm capable of doing. And I'll reach my goal. Like, I know I will, right? Whether it takes 3 years or 4 years, whatever, like I'll reach my weight loss goal. But, it's just so much more than that, and mobility is a big thing for me because, I'm 50 and, in 20 years, like, I'm going to be 70, and I want to be able to get around and walk better and still do squats at that time and not, depend on any kind of walker or crutches to help me get around. Like, I want to be healthy and have longevity the older I get. Like, I can't believe I'm 50, but it blows my mind. But
You look amazing. So that's,
so it's like the true package of, living this kind of lifestyle is all that. It's doing the workouts, it's, it's nutrition. And then it's also like working on, some of the things that you need to strengthen in your mobility. And it's,
sure.
I finally have put all those three pieces together. And like, it's been unbelievable.
And the other leg to that journey is so that's like 1000% agree. That's what we set up the gyms to kind of exemplify for any of the members and try to encourage people that need different areas of work to go that direction.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also that other part with, you mentioned Sarah talked to you about it is the sleep, the diet, and the stress. And obviously the diet's a part of the nutrition, right? But handling the outside, and we talk about capacity and what everyone's capacity is. And you've been raising your capacity in the fitness area, but you're doing that by controlling your sleep, your diet, and your stress to as best a degree as you can. And what's more stressful than owning a business through COVID and everything else? Yeah. So you are, again, I want people to really think about this as far as a picture of who you are and what you've done and how there's really zero excuses for anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have 1000% proven that. That's what's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, when COVID hit too, it wasn't necessarily just, I think I was just as upset about not being able to come to the gym as I was that, my restaurant I couldn't see people, to be honest with you, because I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I mean, it was a big part of my life and my goals. And like, I was on a really, really great momentum. And so it was like, how do I maintain that, and I mean, I had to push myself, I mean, it's, I deliberately rented equipment and paid for it because then I wouldn't allow it just to sit there for nothing, but it was, it also allowed me to kind of keep up. I wasn't maybe getting the same kind of workout as I was when I was here, but once we reopened, I think I was like first in line.
Yeah.
But I mean, the last 2 years were probably some of the most stressful times. I go back to like even the first day I opened Stella's, and it was like I had to put so much work and energy into it as a new business. And, I was putting that much plus so much more energy in it over the last, 2 years. So to manage that and manage my nutrition and my diet, it was challenging.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I guess getting back to talking to other people, because we still get plenty of people like, I can't do CrossFit. I shouldn't do CrossFit. CrossFit's dangerous. CrossFit's this, CrossFit's that. And without ever having tried it and just hearing from somebody else that says, don't do that. It's like, oh, don't go to that restaurant. They have bad service. Like, well, maybe you had a bad experience, whatever. Yeah. Maybe this happened, but is that really the truth until you actually go and try it out? So CrossFit, maybe that's a bad analogy, but anyway,
no.
CrossFit in a way still has that rap of people not being able to do it.
Yeah.
But then there's all these other gyms that are kind of exemplifying the concept of CrossFit, which is constantly varied, high intensity functional movements.
Right.
And they believe they can do that stuff, but not CrossFit. And I guess, what would you say to someone? What would be your explanation to somebody that believes that they can't do it, or is lost and like, I shouldn't be able to do squats. I can't do this. I'm too old. I'm too this, too that.
Let me show you pictures of me 3 years ago. First of all, but it's squashing all those fears and knowing that you can put your mind to anything. And like, it's upsetting to me that CrossFit does have such a bad rap. I mean, I even had family members call me and be like, don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. But when you come in here, you're learning the movements along with like how to prevent injuries and strengthen some of those, muscles and so that you don't hurt yourself. So CrossFit's doing all the right stuff for a workout, right?
Right.
And so it's like, it's complete opposite of what everybody really truly feels,
Sure.
And it's like, all the workouts are programmed to push you a little bit, but it's all this like perfect puzzle. Each workout's like this perfect puzzle that just comes together with each of the different movements. So it's just amazing. And
cool way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, And it's not necessarily just CrossFit, Tony. It's this gym. I mean, it's what you've built at Burg that people can come in here, no matter what shape, size, color, anything, and feel comfortable about who they are and know that they can do that. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I've traveled a little bit, and I don't know, I have such a comfort zone here that I haven't yet, when I've traveled, taken the leap to try other CrossFit gyms. But I know that the majority of the CrossFit gyms are probably all the same. I mean, it's all about just getting the people in here and enjoying the workouts and building a community. And,
Right.
So it's been life-changing for me. And this is like everybody in this gym has been a part of my journey. That's what I call this. It's like my journey. And everybody's played a key role in it. And I'm so thankful.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, everyone loves having you and loves seeing all your progress, because it's seriously, we were talking about you just about every coach's meeting to some degree. What Barb has done.
Yeah, I mean, I did my first CrossFit Open this year.
Awesome.
It's the first time I ever did it.
Awesome.
And everybody always encourages me every year to do it. But I really just pushed myself out of my comfort zone, and then I think I'm going to do Baby Murph
awesome.
next week.
Awesome.
So, and the other one thing I wanted to share with you is I think, in 2018, you asked me for a couple of goals. One was to do a 2,000 meter under 10 minutes, which I did. And one was to run a mile unbroken. And so just the other day while I was in Lake Placid, I did run a mile unbroken.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So unbroken, I mean, I didn't take breaks. I just kept moving. There was no walking, I mean, it was just, and, I probably was able to do that for a while. I just really hadn't challenged myself,
That's awesome.
So I'm excited about it. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, in the past 6 months, I've just started running a little bit more. I always depended on the rowing or the bike as an alternative.
Right.
So, it's nice to see the different progresses that I've made.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this since 2016.
Yeah.
Took a small break.
Yep.
2018 came back. You're
Yep.
seeing progress continually.
Yep.
It's incredible, Barbara.
Yep.
I know I've said that like 4 or 5 times. It's incredible. It's incredible, but it's really, it's hard to put it in perspective. And I hope that people that listen to the podcast or listen to us will come up and chat with you and look you up and have conversations, and hopefully somebody out there will be inspired by what you're talking about, which I know everyone here is.
Yeah. I mean,
and come in and
I'm an open book.
Any gym.
Yeah.
Any gym. It doesn't matter. Change your life. So
I'm an open book. I'm happy to talk about my journeys. I mean, some of, working with Ray, I'm breaking parallel now with my squats, and that's just been, a great accomplishment. The other one, big one too, is, I'm doing, I always did toes to rig, right? Instead of toes to bar. And now I'm doing knee raises.
Awesome.
So, I don't know if I'll ever do handstand push-ups, but it's those little things, just each little step is, I mean, I'm doing more weights on power cleans and snatches, and it's been wonderful.
Awesome.
I'm so thankful.
Well, I just want to thank you again for being on the podcast, and hopefully people will again be inspired by you and reach out to you and check out Stella's. If you haven't been to Stella's, you're going back.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and want to try CrossFit, it's Burg CrossFit.
Oh,
come and I'll do a workout with you. I'm here every morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah, really.
So,
all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much, Barbara. We'll talk to you, audience, here soon, and check out the gym.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode on The Boom Show, produced by the team at Burg CrossFit. Whether you're local to one of our locations or just love what we do, we would love to invite you to check out our in-house and digital offerings over on our website at www.burgcrossfit.com. If you feel stuck on a particular movement or have no idea what the heck a jerk is, definitely check us out on our movement library over on our YouTube channels, found at each one of our corresponding locations at Burg CrossFit, Burg CrossFit North or Burg CrossFit Sunbury. And we'll see you next time.